Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Well, the shocking news that came through yesterday, the former Deputy Senate President was over in Germany, and then he was embarrassed by a bunch of Nigerians. The video circulated on social media, and it was quite a sight to behold. It was an embarrassing situation. Just about everybody has criticized what happened. In fact, maybe the word is condemned what happened. The ruling party has condemned it. I think APC has condemned it. Just about everybody has condemned it. That whatever the issues are, that's one thing and to one side. But doing this kind of a thing to a high-ranking public official is quite another kettle of fish, according to many observers. Who were the guys? Were they just a bunch of random guys? Because the Deputy Senate President was in Germany to celebrate the New Yam Festival, which is a worldwide, it's known worldwide. It's an Igbo festival. It happens all over the world. So he was there, and like the crowd turned on him is the best way to put it. Since then, the former Deputy Senate President has been speaking on television, or at least in video, and that has been circulating as well. And from the largeness of his heart, he says that he has forgiven them. As far as he's concerned, maybe a bunch of ill-informed or misinformed miscreants were behind it. But he was embarrassed. His clothes were torn. I didn't even see in the video that he was pelted with eggs, but in the video that I saw subsequently on social media, he was querying that whoever goes to a New Yam festival with crates of fresh eggs or raw eggs to pelt, what are you doing with those raw eggs? So as he put it, it was a premeditated action. But out of the largeness of his heart, he says he has forgiven the situation. My guest this morning, Fred Nzeako, he's a lawyer, he's a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on, Fred.
Many thanks, Yori. And let me quickly add that I am the Secretary General of Movement for Nigeria Restructuring.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much. Now, what do you think about what happened to the former Deputy President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Yori, it depends on the angle anybody is seeing that incident. Some people see it as embarrassing, especially the elite, the political leaders. They see it as utterly embarrassing. That is why they are queuing up to condemn the act. Some people see it as a wake-up call to Nigerian leaders that if they continue to mess with the people, time shall come when the people will turn around to mess with them. And some people believe that maybe that time has started. There's a group of people that call themselves Revolution Now. Their leader is in detention. They are still marching on. Even yesterday, they discussed. They say they want Nigeria to change. Some other groups are also angling and asking that Nigeria must change. Change for the better, because we are richly and monumentally blessed by God. And then a few individuals are messing the rest of the people. And then they want Nigeria to change. My group is asking that Nigeria need to be restructured so that we will remain together as an indivisible entity anchored on truth, justice, equity, and fair play for the overall growth and development of all. So it depends on how you are seeing it. Then some other people will say, this is good for the politicians. I don't want to believe the injury to one is usually an injury to all. I personally do not want such act. I personally do not subscribe to such way of changing the country. But it depends on personal perception. Some people will even tell you that why would our government officials continue to downgrade things in the country and then upgrade things outside Nigeria? In the first instance, the people who are, a lot of them in diaspora, were forced out of this country by the non-workability and the declining state of affairs in Nigeria. So a lot of them were frustrated with the state of affairs locally, and they went abroad, trying to make their life better. And they cannot even come back because there is so much insecurity, There is so much economic downturn. There is so much problems in the country. So they've become frustrated at home. They became frustrated at home, and they are now frustrated abroad. For every frustrated man, there must be a way to ventilate that frustration. And if such ventilation will be on government officials must know that this is a huge wake-up call. Let us make our country good.
Okay.
Let us ensure that there is high level of patriotism among the citizenry. Because when there is low level of patriotism, government officials will not be reckoned with, both at home and abroad. So it depends on perception and how anyone sees it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, before we go further, I wanted to get from you, do you condemn this act by these compatriots of ours in Germany? For the moment, we'll go to that about whether they or not they were IPOB, but first of all, they were Nigerians.
Yes.
Do you condemn that kind of behavior?
Any act that tends to violate somebody's fundamental rights is condemnable and stands condemned by my humble self.
Okay.
Because the right of Senator Ekweremadu was breached. He didn't cause the whole problem in Nigeria. He's not the federal government. He's not the state government. He's not even an executive member of the government. He is in the legislature. And then nobody can tell me that he had not done well as a former deputy Senate president, nor that he had not done well as a senator. It is a function of understanding. The people over there do not really understand. Well, I will tell you why they don't understand. They do not really, and that is why when you say they are ill-informed people, yes. And I will tell you, I will lay the blame partly squarely on the laps of agencies of government that are supposed to keep educating Nigerians abroad. Because the Nigerians in diaspora, all they hear about Nigeria is bad news, and bad news. Open up Nigerian newspaper today. 70% of the news you hear will be ill-fated and bad and not so lifting. At least 70%.
But to now scapegoat Ekweremadu.
No, that's what I'm saying.
To scapegoat Ekweremadu.
Americans will tell you somebody's going to pay. Somebody's going to pay. It's unfortunate that Ekweremadu bore the brunt of the government inaction or wrong policies that are frustrating Nigerians at home and then giving little or no hope to Nigerians abroad.
Well, okay.
So all they hear is bad news and bad news. So they feel that a country that should be reckoned with is not reckoned with. A country that should give hope does not give hope.
You know, I would contest some of the things that you've said. Yes. Not necessarily all. And it's not so much condemning. I mean, it's not so much that I don't agree, but it's a matter of the degree. When you say that, and perhaps you were being, you know, when you said, for instance, that when they open the papers, all they see about Nigeria is bad news, you know, bad news and all of that. Maybe if you really reflect on it, that is not strictly speaking true. We have our problems. We have our problems. No, but it's not as if there's no good news coming from Nigeria.
I'm not talking about foreign papers. I'm talking about Nigerian newspapers.
Yes.
Nigerian papers.
Yes,
published in Nigeria.
Okay.
How many good news do you hear? Well, no, when you go through it, there is no day you don't hear about killings.
Look, they're talking, yes.
And frustrating tendencies. So now, for every inch of bad news that comes out of Nigeria, don't forget that it will be magnified in the international media. It will be magnified. So if nothing good comes out of the home soil, you can imagine the kind of magnificently bad news they will be picking up over there. And then that leads to frustration.
Those bunch of Igbo Nigerians.
Yes.
I say it in that way.
No, they are Igbos.
I would ordinarily have said.
No, there's no point saying they are Nigerians. Yes, they are Igbos.
No, but
because it's New Year Festival of the Igbos.
Since
they're
reading about happenings in Nigeria.
Yes.
They now see that their man, you know, their brother, who is also Igbo, and because they are Igbo over there, you now decide on your own to meet out the way you feel. And embarrassing everybody else. Embarrassing everybody else.
There's an adage.
Because we all have a stake.
There is a saying in my village, in my place, that when the masquerades want to flog you, he will first flog himself. So you will know that he means business. So maybe they have not started with flogging their brother. And then they are threatening to flog others. And you don't rule out the fact that other ethnic nationalities may toe the same line. You don't rule it out.
Well,
and that is why...
Well, there's no indication of that.
In condemning it, you don't say so. Don't say it because nobody saw this one coming. Did you? Nobody saw it coming. Even Ekweremadu was shocked. He was shocked. Nobody saw it coming.
But
so
you don't also see any indication that anybody else is likely to follow suit.
May take it up because if they did this to a Yoruba man, an ethnic tag will be attached to it. If they did to an Hausa man, an ethnic tag. And that is what has been killing Nigeria. Ethnicity. Undue attachment to primordial sentiments.
So, now, as far as you're concerned, this is the masquerade flogging itself first.
Yes. This is a masquerade flogging itself first. And don't rule out the fact that other ethnic nationalities may toe the same line. Yori, Nigeria must be good. And who has the chance to make it good? Those in authority. Well, and they are the ones who are spoiling the country. Well, let us say it the way it is. Well, so it is everybody's responsibility. It is everybody's responsibility to ensure that this land is good.
Indeed.
Yes.
And it's not as if, work is not ongoing. But everybody has their opinion.
We are not seeing the work.
Well, that's what you are saying.
That's what you are saying. The work.
But no. You can't say Nigerians
I'm not blaming,
are not seeing the work. I am not defending.
Underline my line of thought.
Sure.
I am not blaming government of today. I am blaming Nigerian system. A system that is not working.
So why look at the video? Yes. So why is Ekweremadu?
Ekweremadu is a product of the system that is not working.
Since when? Since when?
Oh, he has been in government since 1999. Don't you know? I'm not saying he alone will make it work. I'm not saying so. It's a collective will of the people in power, of the people in authority that will make the system work.
So what I'm getting now is that you are not outraged. You are not outraged at this happenstance.
Oh, Yuri.
You are not outraged at this happenstance.
Oh, Yuri. I feel the same way every Nigerian feels about this. One, it is condemnable, but why did it happen?
Okay.
That question, why, must be asked. Why did it happen?
Let's move to
because Nigerians are killed all over the country, all over the world, especially in places like South Africa, and we don't get to see actions recently until National Association of Nigerian Students decided, look, if you don't respect us, we will unleash the youthful exuberance in us. That's when you saw South African government react. And if they don't do what is right, you may not hold the youth.
Okay, whereas I concede that, of course, you are here to express yourself, but pushing Ekweremadu around, or any individual Nigerian official around, pushing him around, embarrassing him, pelting him with eggs, and this part of it I'm getting from what he himself said. I don't know if that
is embarrassment, right?
Yeah.
A huge embarrassment to the country.
Yeah.
Is it more of an embarrassment than the fight in National Assembly? Is it more of an embarrassment than the stealing of the mace of the Senate and finding it under the bridge somewhere in Abuja? Which one is more embarrassing?
Fred, you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
What, by which I mean
which one is more embarrassing?
By which I mean
is it more embarrassing than the fight we see every day in the House of Reps and in the Senate and in various assemblies?
When I say you're a
where
lawyer,
the people are supposed to be distinguished,
yes.
sit down in a cozy environment and make laws for us.
But parliaments all around the world tend to be rowdy from time to time.
Citizens all around the world tend to be rowdy as well. Citizens all over the world. There's a news in Turkey, in Ukraine, where they dumped a parliamentarian in the trash bin. I saw it.
Yes.
All right?
But
citizens all over the world. Look, government is all about especially democracy. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Not government of the few, by the few, against the rest. This is the backlash. It's unfortunate that Ekweremadu is the fall guy here, but some other person may fall tomorrow. Let us curtail this thing.
Okay.
You will not see an American do this to their senator. You will not, because a typical American is taken care of. You will not see a Briton do this to their parliamentarian, because the system takes care of. Let our system begin to take care of our people, so that it will enhance their level of patriotism. It will enhance their love for the country, and they will even protect their own. But the frustration here is too much.
So you would take on anybody who was to offer that this was a misguided action by a bunch of ill-informed people. You would take on such a person?
No, I had earlier said that that the people are ill-informed. But then why are
And
they...
that the action was
No,
misguided.
why are they ill-informed? They are ill-informed because even the agencies of government that is supposed to protect Nigeria is not doing so. What is National Orientation Agency doing? Google it and tell me what they are doing. Tell me, have they been able to reorient the country? And there's vote and budgets going to them. What are they doing? What is Voice of Nigeria doing? How much of good news from Nigeria do they broadcast abroad? Open VOA, and you see glowing talks about America. Open BBC, you see glowing talks about Britain. Open Deutsche Welle of Germany. Open France Radio. They tell you good things, inventions, things that are making the world to move progressively and uplifting the soul. Open Nigeria's own.
You see, the point
30
is...
30 killed in Agatu, 50 killed in Ebonyi, 1,000 killed in Enugu. That is all you hear about Nigeria. And you tell me anybody will not be frustrated?
One cannot deny the things that you have mentioned, but to now underline them and overemphasize them as if nothing else is going on is the only area where people are saying, without prejudice, those things happen. But you can't make it seem as if those are the only things going on. But for the moment, let's move on to the other aspect of it, which is, who did this? Was this just a bunch of Nigerian guys who happen to be of Igbo extraction? Or, as is being circulated, were they IPOB members or sympathizers or agitators? And I have seen some things in social media say this could not possibly have been IPOB. IPOB will always fly its flag when it's going to do anything, even though it is prescribed. In fact, that was among the things that I also said, that IPOB haven't been prescribed. You know, somehow they're managing to hold, among other people, Ekweremadu responsible for this. Now, the other story that I heard, the other story since this broke is that, first of all, the former Deputy Senate President himself did say IPOB. He fingered IPOB. But I'm seeing other people who are saying that that's a lie. It couldn't have been IPOB. Whether it is or whether it isn't, the former Deputy President who was at the receiving end did say that these were a bunch of IPOB. You saw Asari Dokubo. He was in there. He was very, very, critical. He referred to Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed organization, as an ingrate, because this very Ekweremadu, played a contributory role in his release and all of that. Then we hear that Nnamdi Kanu is offering any government official, anybody who is close to any of these people, any of these government officials who has access to the itinerary, please forward it to us and we'll give you ₦1 million. Come on, come on. We shall wait. We shall arrange a reception for them. Now, when I said earlier that you're a lawyer, what I meant is that you're used to rules and regulations and behaviors having to be in a certain way. I can't see how you can have any sympathy for this kind of behavior.
Rules and behavior are not to be observed by only the downtrodden. They're also to be observed by the elite, principally, and by those in authority. They set the pace. They show the light. They show the way, and the rest will follow. When those who are supposed to show the way are not showing the way, what do you expect the rest to do? That means you are garbaging and trashing the rules and regulations. The law does not allow that. The law should not tolerate it. And that is why, look, the life of Igbo man does not start and end with IPOB. It does not. Neither does it start and end with Masob. Somebody wrote after that incident that, even though I don't subscribe to that, but that's his own opinion, that Ike Ekweremadu was Deputy Senate President for 8 years under David Mark, and for 4 years under Saraki. And for all those 6 years under Goodluck Jonathan, Enugu Onitsha Express Road could not be done. Second Niger Bridge could not be done. Enugu Port Harcourt Express Road could not be done. That all he was doing was amassing wealth unto himself. He was not alone in amassing wealth. Every government official... But
even the line that you just pursued doesn't bear any logic.
I'm coming. Every government official was complicit in such amassing of wealth. And at the end of the day, left undone what should have been done. For everybody who loses somebody on account of accident on the bad road, you expect the person to be happy? For everybody who is robbed, trying to cross the only Niger bridge that will create bottleneck from like here to for the last for up to 5-6 kilometer stretch, during festivities, and the person is robbed in that traffic, I expect the person to be happy. This is an accumulation of wrongdoings.
Pent-up anger on behalf of...
Badly pent-up anger.
But you just finished...
And then if anybody says, I'm coming, I'm only analyzing the situation.
Okay,
I'm not making up
okay.
For anybody or holding brief for anybody. I'm only looking at it from both sides. And
with detachment?
And then for anybody who says, that it is IPOB, just like the other fellow said, that IPOB has a signature way of doing their things. Biafran flag or whatever they call it will be all over the place. Call it IPOB flag, will be all over the place. We didn't see any of such. The men were not dressed like ragtag agents. They are not miscreants. They are not area boys. These were men, some of them in suit, well dressed. And then it shows that even as we speak, reasonable people in the diaspora are not happy with what is going on at home.
But you just finished saying that...
you understand what I'm saying?
You just finished saying that...
So there's
the Igbo man...
It's neither here nor there.
You just finished saying that IPOB is not about the Igbo man totally.
In concluding that line of thought,
okay.
I feel IPOB is always good at jumping at opportunities. Nnamdi Kanu as a person is always good at jumping at opportunities. Once the thing happened, even if it was not orchestrated by IPOB, he will use catching on the opportunity to try to sell himself. And I kept saying it, even before he ran away from Nigeria, that federal government mishandled the issue of IPOB and then made a celebrity out of an ordinary citizen. Right? And made a celebrity out of an ordinary citizen. So he now cashed in on that opportunity to begin to release press conferences and international talks, promoting IPOB unnecessarily. If that thing was organized by IPOB, obviously, not every Igbo man is an IPOB sympathizer. Not every Igbo man.
So IPOB was actually embarrassing, if you want to go there. IPOB, therefore, was actually embarrassing the Igbo man worldwide.
Not every Igbo man.
Okay. Tuko in Ikeja, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Please go ahead.
Okay. You see, I listened to your guest, and frankly speaking, it looked like he is part of the system. Do you understand what I mean? Part of the system supporting all this atrocity that are committed by these people. What's happened?
What? The people in Germany?
Yeah, I mean Nigeria and Germany.
Okay, the Nigerians in Germany that were on that picture.
Exactly. It's
okay. Okay, I just wanted to clarify what system.
He is not supposed to, support these guys who want to annihilate the Senate president. And what he is mentioning, he is talking about the Ekweremadu. Is he a minister of works? If Jonathan went out of this country, they go and beat him because 6 years he did not complete the Niger bridge. That's not what he's supposed to be. Do you understand? So you can't just blame an ordinary person, Senate president, because he has been there for 6 years, and because of that, after all, he assists the member of that particular organization. He is the one who initiated the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Did he think that another people who did? He is a lawyer. But how can somebody who comes sit down and start supporting this kind of atrocity?
Well, he did explain. It wasn't outright support. He did explain his own perspective.
Well, I understand, but frankly speaking, I don't like the way he puts some certain things. He is a responsible person, and he's supposed to speak responsibly.
Okay.
All
right then. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, different strokes for
it's
different
obvious
folks.
The caller has not been following my line of thought, and he has not been following the program. He possibly jumped into it and then made up his mind. If he had followed us from the beginning, he will understand.
Well, you will see that I myself had to seek clarification,
of course,
and you were forthcoming on the clarification.
Understand. I was trying to analyze the thing.
Yes.
Bare on the table, and then when you ask me direct questions about my own thought,
yes.
I gave it to you.
Yes.
I mean,
I
condemned it outrightly.
Okay, you condemned that kind of behavior,
yeah, of course,
but that you could understand where it was coming from.
I could analyze where it could possibly be coming from. I wasn't in Germany, but I use what goes on here to analyze the feelings of those outside.
Okay, now to go to some other things that you said and that Tuko referred to there, I also was going to interject, but I don't like doing that if I can avoid it. But wait a minute, because Ekweremadu was Deputy Senate President, and in the eyes of some things that should have been done because he was there. I didn't understand that. It's a bit like when people say that when Obasanjo was president, that Otta was rubbish. That Otta Road was rubbish for the entirety of his
No, and you expect the people to be happy?
No. Even if they weren't happy, you now begin to pelt Obasanjo with eggs when he comes around, say, what were you doing there? Even though people were speaking like that, you can speak like that, but to now actually concretize it, to make it to make your resentment manifest. That's why we have laws and rules.
Don't forget that Obasanjo was booed sometime when he attended one function in Abeokuta.
I think that was, are you talking about the Maryland event? That was a different matter.
No,
not that one.
No, not that one.
Okay.
He was booed sometime. And then if the people, you see, the thing goes at various levels. Somebody could be booed, but over there abroad, we don't have the culture of throwing eggs. We don't even have the eggs to
But
eat.
I didn't even see any eggs. But Ekweremadu said there was a crate of eggs there.
No,
he said it.
He said it.
He said, who brings eggs to a New Yam festival? So it means it was so it means they came ready to protest and show their disapproval, but to physically touch the man, to push him around, as we saw. That is the part that is a bit surprising to everybody. But let me bring in, so that you can comment on everything. Joshua, good morning in Irewolide.
Good morning, and I greet your guest.
Sure.
Good morning.
You have a lot of damage control to do this morning with your guest. The culture of violence has never worked anywhere. Violence is a replacement for loss of value. I want to let him know something, that the violence unleashed on the former Senate president, the immediate one, and he's still a senator, a serving senator, is on Nigerians. It's not just that he's an Igbo man. They unleashed that violence on Nigerians because it was on a foreign land, and they stood...